See, I went and read up top, and then I blew it.
Ah.
I'm not going to read all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hey, this is Juan Carlos Blacker with Get a Grip on Rebates, brought to you by Light Efficient Design. That's www.led-llc.com, Light Efficient Design, bringing you the LBI Linear Transformer. LBI is a ETL and DLC listed retrofit kit or complete fixture. It is an incredibly flexible, incredibly versatile product that can be adjusted between 3 color temperatures, 3 different wattages, making up really 9 different SKUs in just one light bar. With that kind of flexibility, it will serve almost all your, not all your lighting needs, but most of your lighting needs. So additionally, you can connect 40 of these LBIs together to form a single power feed, or have them connect seamlessly with linking cables or connectors. Finally, and most importantly, with this product, you get a 10-year warranty, 100,000 hours of life. Again, visit led-llc.com. That's Light Efficient Design and their LBI Linear Transformer. So, Joe, today on Get a Grip on Rebates, we are going to be talking about the fine print of utility rebates. Super exciting stuff. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, the most exciting part of the industry, far and away.
Yeah. Well, no, we know all of you hate fine print, but unfortunately, super important so that you can all maximize the incentive dollars that you're getting from these programs. And unfortunately, the utilities have to put in this fine print, have to have caveats to their programs, and it's important for those who are going to participate to understand exactly what is entailed, what's needed, what the rules are for you to maximize. So quite a few things that pop up in that fine print, Joe. What do you think is tops on the list?
Yeah, I think number one, first and foremost, you want to understand the program timelines. So, when is a program open? When is it close? And, before you can really start anything, you want to make sure that funding is available for your customer. And the first area that fine print is challenging is verifying that your customer is actually eligible. Most customers are going to be eligible as long as they are contributing to the program through their utility bill. But occasionally you'll run into clients who have chosen to opt out. And, one of the big stumbling blocks can be somebody who expects to get an incentive, but at a corporate level, they've chosen to opt out and they're not eligible for programs. And that's probably number one place to start. Let's talk
a little bit more about that opt-out. Hold on, Joe. I want to talk a little bit more about that opt-out because I think a lot of customers might not understand that. So it is. If you are paying into your utility, you usually are eligible for these programs. But on occasion, particularly at the commercial industrial side, you can, as a company, opt out of those requirements, and that may have been done by your head of finance. It may have been done by your energy person, and you may not understand that. So that is key to knowing if your company is eligible for a utility program. What's the best way, Joe, to determine if your company is eligible?
Well, the best way would be to reach out to the utility program themselves with a copy of the utility bill and really just asking for verification on eligibility. This might be a part of the pre-approval process that you might have to go through. Most programs have some form of pre-approval that is part of the process. So it's a good place to start, is just before you make any commitments to the customer, make sure they're eligible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that pre-approval is also a big part of it. It's not just if you're eligible, but also if the project itself is eligible. And that's there in the fine print. And, those pre-approvals can be as simple as you calling your energy services manager at the utility, getting that approval, running through the program or the project type, and it might be as big as having them come in and do a full inspection.
Yeah, that's right. And every utility is different in this regard. Some will have dollar amount figures that if you're below, you don't need to go through a pre-approval process or an audit, or if you're above, you do. So this is where the fine print really starts to impact your ability to get incentives. Is you really got to understand if the project is going to fall into the category of needing really a pre-inspection to make sure that you have
Right.
The correct inefficient fixtures in place that need to be replaced.
Right. Right. And this is definitely really important in, again, commercial and industrial projects, the big projects, but also some of those residential projects that are happening. Some of the new construction is also going to be having that need for pre-approval. So really do look at the what do you call it? The fine print, as it were, of the project, and do use those energy managers at the utility. You mentioned, Joe, pre and post inspection there briefly. Let's talk about that, because that's a huge part about this fine print that's important to understand.
Yeah, the inspection process is, in the front end, it's just to verify that you have the correct inefficient fixtures to be able to receive the incentives.
Right.
And there's a lot of variance here. I mean, if you think about all the fluorescent lamps that have been installed, whether they're T8, T5, or still T12, there's a ton of different types of product in market. And this is also where the fine print comes into play on the application itself, because many utilities
Right.
will vary the incentive based on what's in place. So that pre-inspection is kind of just to verify you have what you say you have or what you think you have. And it can
Right.
get kind of complicated because it can change over the course of a facility, what's been installed over time.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And can you believe you brought up T12s? Like, I still am in awe of the fact that T12s exist out there, but they're still
Yeah,
there, and they
they're
definitely should
still
be
there.
replaced. They are still there. Um, so then, that's the pre-inspection. Post-inspection, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, Joe. Post-inspection, they're coming in. They are checking the changes that were made, making sure they meet the requirements that were part
Mhm.
of the program. Make sure that you did what you said you were going to do, and only after that post-inspection are they going to provide incentives. Um,
Yeah,
pretty
that's
pretty
correct.
on there.
That is correct.
So you
And this again will vary by utility. Some utilities will take a really detailed approach and actually go up and look at fixtures and verify manufacturer model numbers.
Right.
And others, it's just simply a visual inspection to validate that the count is correct. In places the utilities are concerned about is somebody applying for an application with 200 fixtures, but there was only 100 installed. So they're looking for anomalies in the data in that format, and really they're trying to protect the program's validity in the marketplace and to be evaluated accurately. They want it
Right.
to be
Right.
evaluated well.
Right. And yeah, not only do they need to verify, but important to also let them know that if in the process of doing the project you're going to be making any changes to what you originally approved or proposed, that you let them know, and
Yeah,
that they go ahead and approve that as well. So again, all this fine print. I think, at least for me, Joe, one of the things that most comes up in terms of the fine print is the early end of incentives. Um, and knowing that it's a possibility that a utility will run out of money or run out of funds on a particular project, so they may have a program that supposedly runs January through December, but come August they've spent all of the funds they have available, and then that
yeah,
program shuts down, and that can really affect what you're planning if you're planning something late in the program cycle. So being aware that that can happen, and double checking with your utility that the funds are available when you go into project is absolutely vital. I think, for me at least, the most important of the fine print issues that you have to think about.
yeah. Budget tracking is huge. It's something we do well over here at Rebate Bus, is keeping on top of budget availability, utility. Because things can dry up fast, and a couple of big projects can kind of wear down the availability of funds. We've seen some stories, situations in certain service territories where customers were expecting to be able to apply, and funds dry up or programs end early. And those can be really challenging moments. So staying on top of the utility is really a good move. Having a good relationship with the
Absolutely.
program manager and any of the staff internally, just to get insights into what's happening, I think is very valuable.
Right. Right. And I think that's something we are always telling you on Get a Grip on Rebates is get that relationship with the utility, get that relationship with the program manager. It's super essential. We've been a little bit of a downer here, Joe, on all this fine print, but let's end it. Let's end this one on a high note. That fine print can also be beneficial. You can find something
Yeah.
in that fine print that says, "Hey, look, I can get extra money for X, Y, and Z." There may be more out there available than you're aware of if you're reading through the details in the fine print of the program.
Yeah, by taking an extra 10 minutes and reading through everything, there oftentimes are ideas that'll come to a lighting salesperson to realize, oh, if I went down this direction, I could get additional incentive, or if I add controls, I could get additional incentive. Or it could simply be understanding the cap. So the project cap, it plays a role where the utility pays a percentage of the project up to whatever that cap is that they've designated. And understanding that number, I think, is really critical, because you could take that to market and really maximize it and make sure that you're taking advantage of the full opportunity the utility is offering.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think that's great information. Again, I can't stress hard enough, and I know Joe the same. You really got to get to know your utility program managers. You really got to look at the fine print of all these programs, whether it's commercial, residential, or industrial, and just be aware, be focused on what you're trying to achieve and what's available from your utilities. So, any last words
Yeah.
from you, Joe?
Well, there's a lot of money out there, and I think spending an extra 10, 15 minutes to look at the fine print is really, it's in your best interest. And it reads like a tax document, but if you spend that
It
extra
does. It
time,
does.
you can find things that'll help you out.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thanks again for joining us today on Get a Grip on Rebates. Thank you, Joe. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
This is Juan Carlos Blacker.
Light efficient design, transforming light. You can visit led-llc.com to learn more.